I want to talk about stepping into your uncomfort zone. Just a little bit about it and the nature of it. Have you ever went on a super scary amusement park ride, or a huge water slide, or went skydiving? Whatever it is, it's something that you haven't done before that seems scary at the start. What is that for you? And have you noticed that when you've done these things, just how much you've grown since conquering that fear? So, the key here when it comes to personal development is to find those situations where you are uncomfortable to go through it. Public speaking, for example, you're gonna be shaking in your boots the whole time. You're going to be nervous the whole time. But it is in those moments that you lean into it and you realize, okay, I'm going to do the emotionally difficult thing here, and I'm going to lean in to the feeling that I am experiencing such that I can grow as much as possible here. It's how present are you in these moments that you're scared? How present are you? That will determine how much you grow. How present you are when you're feeling negative, or when you're feeling different forms of suffering. How present you are in these moments is going to introduce you to who you really are. And when it comes to, for example, public speaking or things related to that, at first, because it's new, because it's unique, it's going to be difficult for you to be in that zone. But then as you expose yourself to more experience, and for whatever it is, even skydiving, if you skydived 100 times, you're going to eventually acclimatize and adapt to what situations and experiences you're putting yourself through. You could even teach yourself that you're okay, even in situations like skydiving. And of course, in situations like public speaking, or even going on that super high water slide, or even going on that roller coaster. Eventually, that super scary roller coaster becomes something that is no longer a thrill. And usually that's the nature of fear. The nature of fear is more so around the actual event itself, not the actual event. And it takes great mindfulness to actually notice this. But when you can actually notice this, you can trust in the fact that even though you're feeling this fear now, as soon as you get started, as soon as you're a minute in your speech or whatever, then you're going to acclimatize to the situation, and you're going to allow yourself to just feel normal, feel calm, and feel content. I've noticed this over the years that, with my journey of socialization, talking to people, talking to new people, the more I do it, and the more different scenarios I do it in, the more I learn, also talking to women, right? That's a big one for men. The more I do it, the more easier it comes to me, the more natural it comes to me. And what I've really realized is that with whatever behavior that you want to embody, you just got to do enough of it for it to feel normal and for you to not have too much of a big fuss about it. And a big part of it too is to make it into your own little game. Try to get some fun into it. Try to track your progress in it. For example, like approaching how many people, and like you just, have a little notepad and you just do a little tick box or whatever, or you move popsicle sticks from one pocket to another, like whatever it is, whatever you're doing, find ways to track the progress of you adding more and more volume of doing the actual practice itself. That's how you gauge your success in these scenarios. Because if you just gauged your success on, if people liked you or not, then you're not going to be very motivated to keep on going. And the most important part in this process of acclimatizing ourselves to the person that we came here to be is that we need to expose ourselves to massive amounts of volume such that we can actually adapt and acclimatize such that is our new normal. So then what we have to do is we have to track the things that are just us taking the action, So like, for example, if you want to get better at socialization, just track the times you actually show up, and then also just track the number of approaches you do, not necessarily the quality of approaches or whatever, and then how many times in a row that you go out across the week, or like for Toastmasters, how many speeches a month do you do, how many table topics you do, or whatever it is. If you want to get less scared of rock climbing, for example, that's a huge fear for a lot of people, the fear of heights, plus if you're doing the real rock climbing where you have to clip yourself in, if you did 100 hours of that, you're going to be way more confident in yourself, and you're going to be way better at conquering that fear of just climbing, with no rope above you, right? But that just is earned with massive amounts of volume, and find little ways to, you don't have to do the big cliff right away. Find smaller ways to allow yourself to chunk down the progress. In any domain in life, if you want to do, if you're having a hard time to do Instagram or like social media or whatever, like putting your face out there. I had trouble with this for my own reasons, and I didn't want to put my face online for a number of years, and also I didn't feel like what I was saying was good enough and all that stuff. And perhaps that was true, but the thing is that just sitting there and not doing anything was not going to make me good enough. I wasn't going to get any better. So then what I decided was I started making these practice routines, and I just uploaded them privately. So on this YouTube channel right now, there is over 120 practice routines that are actually privated. Because the first 100, 120, whatever, let's just say the first over 100 videos was just me practicing the routine of just uploading something and actually practicing myself speaking. And that's been very interesting for me, right? And then eventually, come 2023, I'm like, yeah, let's start making them public. And then ever since, I've just been making my videos public. But that took commitment. That took a lot of time of just getting myself acclimatized to the scenario. So with whatever fear you're trying to face, you think about your life purpose. If you already have enough clarity on thinking about what you want to do, for me, I'm thinking about, like, for example, one day I want to speak into many big crowds. But like when I was a child, I remember looking at someone doing a TED Talk and saying, I could never do that. And now I'm like, yeah, I could do that. But how did I get there? Well, it started with the intention that I wanted to get there. And I was going to figure out how I was going to baby step myself to getting to that end result. So with whatever new standard of behavior you want to set for yourself, really consider how can you expose yourself to massive amounts of experience, as much intense experience as you can handle for the, most amount of time. And then eventually, you'll level up, and then you can, make it more intense. Like, for example, when I wanted to talk to women more, I would just go to a club and I would just talk to the men. At first, I would just show up and wouldn't talk to anybody, maybe a couple people, right? And I would just go and dance. But that was the volume. I was showing up. And then I ramped it up, and I was like, okay, then I'm just talking to the guys. And then I could talk to every guy. And then I was like, hey, I'm just talking to girls in groups of one, And then I'm like, all right, I can do any group, and then I can do several groups in 25 minutes, and and then I could do 40 approaches in one night, or whatever, right? So so with whatever goal you have, just find ways to slowly expose yourself to more and more experience, and treasure those times where you're feeling anxious, you're feeling like you're outside your comfort zone, and be like, all right, this is when I level up, this is when I become my 10.0 self just a little bit more. The more you can lean into those moments, and the thing is too, once you actually do the action, you'll realize man, this wasn't shit. What's the big deal? And for a lot of things, you'll notice that. So whatever it is for you, try to be strategic in this way, where you're trying to strategically expose yourself to just more and more experience, such that you can break through the fears and limiting beliefs that are holding you back to becoming who you came here to be. So with that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.